Alright, try this again. Here from SNK, we have Crystalis, an NES game that's an old favorite of mine. It takes place 100 years after the end of the world, which occurs in 1997. Which honestly wasn't really that far ahead of when the game came out. I'll be streaming a little bit of this just to kind of play a little bit of it, see if anybody wants to see it. It's a fun game. It's kind of like Zelda, a little faster, a little smoother, a little bit more story. Got good music, got good graphics. It's a pretty good game overall. None of these dragons actually will appear in the game. Actually looks really good. Yeah, graphically this game is actually pretty good for its time. The main character looks a little goofy, but, I mean, as far as art direction in general, it's colorful, it's got a lot of variety in the way that things look. So here we go. Input your code name. And go. So you get, I guess, thawed or brought out of suspended animation. It's kind of nice. You have this... I mean, you don't get this 3D-ish view anywhere else, really, in the game, except in this screen. Everything else is kind of a top-down isometric. Now, I'm not sure how he broke out of that wall and caused it to explode like that, but that's what happened. So we've got townspeople to talk to. There's a few different towns in the game, like probably 12 or something. Probably a little less than 12, but on order, on that kind of plus minus, it's probably between like 8 and 12. It's it's a decent number. Each town has a few different people to talk to. Here's this guy. Now, this guy we'll be seeing a little later on, but he first off provides us with some money as well as some rivalrous pride. Yeah, so Zebu says he's having a hard time with the windmill guard. He's always sleeping. We'll see him in a minute. This is a pet rabbit that makes sounds that I've never heard a rabbit make before. And here is... Yeah, I've never seen the window keeper's not doing its job. Here's the village elder. So, this game kind of has elements, 4 elements kind of style of stuff. And it's a bit of an issue because you only get one sword, you get the swords as the story progresses. And so you have to kind of, in general, the enemies in the beginning of the game are, effectively weak against wind, and then later on you get other elements. And it kind of, it's unfortunate that it kind of has to proceed in a fairly slow way, because, it's just, it doesn't really, you'd think that it'd be cool if you had to do, like, on-the-fly element shifts early on in the game and get used to it, but in reality, you don't have to do a whole lot of shifting. A couple of the swords are pretty darn good in most circumstances. And another thing is that the later swords actually have a greater base attack power anyway, so unless there's a full 100% immunity to an element, most enemies, you just use the strongest sword you have. So, as far as things go, the game actually has a little bit of complexity to it. You have 2 different defense stats. You have defense from bump attacks and defense from projectile attacks. Now, the projectile attack defense goes up if you buy shields. You can see that, you've actually got a condition which you can be paralyzed, you can be turned to stone, you can be poisoned. All of these things are bad. Poison in this game is actually kind of broken because it's fatal, like lethal. Try to make the windmill work. Now, you'd think that in order to make the windmill work, you'd have to, like, get some parts or something like that, but as we saw earlier, the town guy, He's just very lazy. He's so lazy, in fact, that he just sleeps all day and never actually runs the windmill. Because there's a little kid who's never seen it running in her whole life. So let's check this out. Oh. There we go. You go into the cave, and you find this guy. Yes, this is the guy who gave us the money at the beginning of the game. Just a couple minutes ago. He was waiting to hand us cash and then to go over here and take a nap, even though he has a house. There's no windmill. It stopped. We can't do anything about that. I suppose we could do something about it if we had the right parts, but we're far too good aligned to just pick the windmill guy's pocket. So you say, well, how do we wake him up? And the answer is, you have to make a loud noise. In order to do that, you have to grind enemies and buy an item called the alarm flute, which is conveniently sold in a tool shop. Hold on, we'll get there. Yeah, so hold on a second here. Alright, back to the town of Leaf. Well, there's a good number of towns in this game, like somewhere between 8 and 12 or something like that. Yeah, he's gone. He has a bed here. Why doesn't he just rest here? I don't know. Oh, crap. Yeah, it defaults to no, so if you... Yeah, it's 50 coins, so I have to go grind some enemies. Which is alright. I mean, you know, you have to... You can get up to level 16, I think, in this game. It's kind of like Ease in that there's a fairly small level cap. But you definitely need to level up regularly in the game just because of the fact that there's an awful lot of dependence of your like attack power on what level you're at, and if your attack power is low enough, you'll just ping right off enemies and you won't hurt them at all. Alright, leveled up. Alright, we got enough for the alarm flute, and we're level 2. Oof, antidote is 40, but I probably should grab one before before I move on to the next area, just because it's, if you get poisoned in this game, you will die, unless you get to a town fast. I'm pretty sure that resting at the inn recovers poison, but otherwise you need an antidote herb, and they're not plentiful, and poison doesn't run out and stop. It just keeps going until you are dead. Oh, an interesting point. You'll notice that my, I'm shooting here, these little wind bursts. One of the things that this game has over Zelda is that you don't have to worry about keeping your life filled up in order to keep your ranged attack. You just have to charge up a little bit. But the level 1 stuff tends to be stopped by barriers, whereas the level 2 attacks, there's going to be 3 stages of attack for each sword. And the second stage typically goes through barriers. So here we go. Here, the button mashing on this is a little odd. You hit A to select the item, then you walk up to the guy, and then you hit the sword button to use the item. And there he is. Please don't tell Zebu, but it's like... I can see the windmill is not working. I mean, he's a wise man. He's one of the 4 great wise men in this game. It's just like, come on, guys. Come on, guy. It's pretty obvious that you're not working. So, windmill key. Yeah, there were no parts, it was just a key. And, like, once it starts running, it just keeps running indefinitely. Like, there's no... It doesn't ever stop. So you'd think that this guy could just go, you know, wake up, turn it on, and go back to sleep or something, but no. So before I go in there, I'm going to poke some bad guys a little bit. Oh yeah, Zebu told us to come back and he'd give us some magic too, so that's another thing to do real quick. I'm gonna fight a couple of these walking tiger dudes, or whatever they are. And I'm gonna try to have enough cash to get the basic shield, as well as an antidote herb, just to have it on hand in case I need it. And they're kind of expensive, they're 40 coins. Let me just kind of shoot a few of these guys. Yeah, like most of old console RPG style games, there's a little bit of grinding. Grinding was something that was seen as pretty normal until the Super Famicom era. I mean, playing Final Fantasy, the first one for NES, you grind a lot. And the same thing is true of Dragon Warrior, all of them. Sometimes you just gotta level up. Well, you know, I'm thinking about it, actually, and as I think carefully, there really aren't too many projectile-wielding enemies in this first stage of the game, so I think what I might do is just grab the antidote herb and try to move on, just for the sake of the stream. But let's get our magic spell first. Alright. Refresh. So spells are used very much like items in this game, except they're the A button and not the B button. Refresh just heals your health for a charge of MP. Pretty standard. There are some times... It works gradually, so there are some times where you will find yourself holding that A button down and praying that you get hit less often than it heals up. Especially later in the game, where some enemies will do some massive damage if they get on if they really get behind you. All right, we'll grab an antidote herb in case we need it. We'll probably need it. I don't really care about the first shield in the game is called the Carapace shield. It's just basically like a tortoise shell that you hold up against bullets. It's like, okay. Alright, so we get an antidote herb. Just in case. I think there's actually one in the cave, but only one. And it's pretty easy to get poisoned. All you have to do is get bumped by one of the poisonous enemies, and the narrow hallways make it pretty easy for them to get in on you if they're kind of at a weird angle and you can't hit them with your wind burst. So that's just how it goes. So I don't know if I'll be able to... Yeah, those guys aren't too bad. That part's scary because the bad guys will hide under the bridge sometimes. And since this thing is a small, like, kind of one sprite kind of attack, you know, you can cast it, and the enemy can still be in one of the spaces where your hitbox will be. Wow. Ah. Damn. Yeah, can't drop spells. Damn it. Leveled up again. You know, I don't have anything else for the A button to do, so... Later on you get tools that are also run off the A button. So this game kind of suffers from the fact that the NES has only a very small... I think those are poisonous. Okay, so look at this. This is one of those things that... This is a a piece of the cave that you can break with a second level wind spell. But we gotta find it first. The guy said there's an orb. I think they even just call it a ball sometimes, somewhere in the cave, so we gotta find that. It's not really hard to find. This cave is not really that significant of a maze. Warp boots there, cast a teleport spell, you can go to any town that you want. Although I'm not sure if they work in dungeons. They might. I'm not gonna try it unless I really need to. Okay, I think that the ball of wind is right here. No, that's a medical herb. That doesn't help. Ah! This is one of the few guys that has a projectile in this area of the game. Okay, yeah, here we go. We go down these stairs. I think that's what they are. Yeah, there's the ball of wind. And basically, generally speaking, you'll just equip these things as soon as you get them and leave them on all the time. But now I have the second level wind spell. It takes longer to charge. But it's more powerful. It goes through barriers. That barrier up there is where I need to go next to progress in the game. But, yeah, so you can see how you get in a weird angle there. And those poisonous enemies can get you. Alright. Man, there's a lot of these things. What the hell? Alright, here we go. Hit that. And the screen begins to scroll. Oh, and you gotta grab the coins if you want the money from the enemies. Which can be irritating if you get attacked by more than one at the same time. You gotta run around trying to catch all the coins before they disappear. Because they do disappear in like 5 seconds. It's kind of ridiculous, honestly. Yeah, just at a weird angle. Generally speaking, you'll usually wander around with your second level charge up. The third level charge you get when you get a bracelet. Those come a little bit later on. And it does cost MP in order to use the bracelet and you cast the third level spell. But at the same time, it's kind of a room clearer. This looks like the forward in the... Okay, I was mistaken about that other barrier being the one that leads further in the game. I think that's it. And that would be the first boss fight, which I'm going to back off on for the moment, because I think that I can gain a little bit more experience before I do that. And if it gets me a level, then I'll have an easier time fighting that boss, which I think is called a vampire, even though it doesn't really look like one. I don't know, we'll see. Those guys throw their heads. I'm not sure about the validity of that strategy, but they can attack. And it is a projectile attack, which I don't have a shield for, so I take maximum damage at this point. Pretty sure. Oh, well, not quite. My defense does go up 1 point per... Yeah, there's that antidote herb. If you die before reaching it, that's it for you. You're toast. It looks like I won't have the level. But I think I might actually want to go back to the town and fill up my MP, just in case. Won't take very long. And again, I might actually... I'll be able to get... Well, do I need it? I don't know, I've played through this game so many times. I can probably take out the vampire without dying at this point. Pretty sure. I think... Okay, so select start... But you can't save in dungeons, so that's... at least a little bit reasonable as far as challenge goes. Other than that, though, it's pretty much save anywhere. Anytime you're underground, basically, you can't. But in the overworld areas, you can. Yeah, so you'll notice that I kind of move ahead of the scroll, so you can get surprised by enemies if you're not careful enough. Okay, so we're gonna see the strategy of how I kill the vampire. I think I have enough. The strategy is to just stab him as fast as you can. And there we go. And you get the rabbit boots. Now the rabbit boots are your first tool which will require me to turn off refresh. But first I'll just kind of top off my hit points. Okay, rabbit boots. These are actually useful because you'll end up in swamps later on in the game that are toxic. Not poisonous, but like acutely toxic, so you just gradually lose health while you're in them. And these help to mitigate that. Alright, second town. Bryn Mawr, I think? Let's just save real quick. Alright. Yeah, the village of Oak is populated by dwarves. They don't speak the English. So he just went off to Mount Saber. We'll see him later. Tornell lives with his pupils in the north. Go in here. I think I will pawn those warp boots. 2 medical herbs and 2 antidotes. I think that's reasonable. It gives me a little extra cash. So what I can do with that cash is I can skip the Carapace shield entirely and still not afford the bronze shield. Damn it. Okay, I gotta go get $6. Hold on, I'll be right back. And we start to need a shield at this point, because when I get to some enemies, you'll see that they actually throw axes now. Ouch. And they hurt. They hurt more than they really should. Oh, wow. Fortunately, I can charge faster than they can walk. At least at this point. Ah! These things are tough. Yeah, once they start throwing stuff at you, and you see how much damage it does. It's a lot. I have no interest at all in taking multiple hits of that. There's a level up. Alright, so now I'm a little stronger, a little better defense. And actually, I'll go grab that shield, the bronze shield. It'll save me some cash so that I don't have to buy every item in the freaking game. It's not like there's achievements or anything. Alright. No, don't drop the... No, equip the bronze shield. Jeez. Now, I think I can't actually afford a knight at the end. I think it's 20, yeah. Yeah, so I'll have to come back. I guess I could... I have some extra spell points now that I have a level up. Oh wow, that consumed a lot of MP. So, I'm already level 4. I think I mentioned this already, but you can get up to level 16. Each level takes, you know, approximately double the experience to get to the next level, so it's kind of like ease. Slightly better because it's 16 levels instead of 10. But you do need them. Come on. Wow. So there's some places to explore. Oh, this. Okay, hold on. I can't actually die from doing this, but I always lose this the first few times. Here we go. So this is Tornell's... Yeah. Bryn Mawr. Oh, it's not time yet. Okay, so this is... Yeah. That guy's Stom is his name. I'm not sure if it's just like weirdly translated or if that's... I've never played the Japanese version, even though I have the ROM. Now this is one of those things where... Ah, this is an interesting point. These guys are immune to wind. There's the Onyx statue. That's what Akahana was looking for. So we need to go give that to him. And then I think we can do the thing that I saved for. The enemies have a very long distance of blowback whenever you hit them with the sword, or with anything, to be honest. But if you can corner them and just stab them in the wall, that usually works pretty well. Okay, so here's the statue. Give that to him. And he gives me a gas mask. Alright. Let's take a quick break. And actually, I think this is a pretty good time to just kind of close out for a little while. Might be on a little later today. I will save my game. And I will bid you all adieu.